the front thrust washer is grooved, and when we disassemble it, you'll be able to see it. So this little pin, what we have to do is push the pin all the way down and then rotate the thrust washer all the way over and to get it to loosen up. So let's see if we can get this little tricky guy loosened up. I just use again a little small screwdriver, get it started, push down a little bit, there we go. And there, now I can get my screwdriver on the top of it, my smallest one, and slide it on there real nice like that. Okay. Have to be like a dentist sometimes to get this stuff to work. Okay, now we're going to try to rotate the thrust washer over. Let me slide the screwdriver back a little bit, push it all the way down, rotate it almost, there it goes. Okay, now I'll get out of the way so you can see what happened. Now if you can see right here, that's the little pin, and you can see the teeth that when it rotated over, there's a teeth that came out. So that guy's ready to slide on out of there. Okay, so we're going to slide off. This is the third gear right here. Now let me see what the official name on that guy is. 108. Yeah, third speed gear. Okay, Emma. Ready? Okay, that's fine. Okay, so now we're going to slide it off, and again, let's try not to go too far because you don't want that guy to pop off and go shooting out everywhere. So we're going to slide it off. Try pushing it down. Get it started. Pull it off. Okay. Work with it a little bit. Almost. Okay. Hold the pin down. Oh, you little booger. Alright, oops, I slid it back over. I'm going to get it again here. Hang on, guys. Push it down, rotate it. See how tricky this stuff is. Push it down, almost. Push it down, rotate it. There we go, rotate it. Try slide it out. Okay, let's try this again here. Got it lined up okay. We're going to take a little screwdriver, push it down a little bit on the thrust washer. There we go. And she pops right, slides right out. Let me back it up a little bit. Take out the front thrust washer. Set it down. Front thrust washer is grooved on the inside. Good. We'll mic it and see if it's in specs. Here's that little pin, a little nasty booger right there. Go ahead and smash it down. Good old paper clip. We'll smash it down. There we go. Alright, now put your finger back here so it won't pop out. I'm going to lose it. There's our third gear. Take that guy off. Set him aside. And here's the little pin. Take that, set it aside, and the spring is still in there. I'll just leave it in there. That's what I normally do. Okay, now we're going to take off the bushings here. Let's see. And they're officially bush for second speed and the bushing for the third. Right, and then there's the middle thrust washer right here. These guys just slide off. See, they're starting to slide off. Push it with the second gear. try to keep it together. One real good point is the oiling holes, and when we assemble it, we'll show you what we mean there. You got to line up these bushings with the oiling holes from the third motion shaft to make sure that they line up and stuff. So we'll slide it off. There we go. Keeping the thrust washer with it. There's a third gear bushing, middle thrust washer. Keep that all together. Set it aside. Here's your second gear. Go ahead and take the second gear off. Bushing sliding out with it. Here's your second gear bushing. Set that aside. Here's your second gear. This one's been uprated. And here's the steel Synchro that goes with it. We'll do the inspection here after we get it all disassembled. Here's your first speed gear in assembly. Again, this has the detent balls and springs in it, so try not to slide it all the way out. Slide it out as an assembly. And here's your rear thrust washer. Let's take it out and set that aside. Grooves towards the inside, smooth on the outside towards the main bearing for the shaft. Now we'll slide out your, let's get the official word of this is first speed wheel and synchronizer assembly. That's what this guy is. So we'll slide this guy all the way off the shaft, set it aside. It comes off in this way. Again, it'll only go in one way. Here's where the synchronizer goes in for the second speed gear, and this is towards the back. So we'll take that off, set it down like that. All right, here's your third motion shaft bearing and housing for that. Further disassemble it on the back side. Here's your nut, spring washer. Take that off. Here is your distant piece, third motion shaft, distance piece. Take that guy off. And again, this guy can only go on one way. I like to keep them all lined up. It can only go on one way. And let's see if we can show that. So it slid out real nice and easy. We'll switch it around, slide it on. Won't go past this this groove here, this machine piece of the shaft here. So this end is a little bit bigger to slide on that way. So that's good news. Take that off and slide it here. Put it down. All right. Now the next piece is your speedo gear, and it is keyed. It has a key on it. So we'll slide it back, and here's the key right here. So we'll slide it back, and here's a little key right here that I'll take out and show you. So there's the key for the speedo gear. This guy, I'm going to leave it, slide it off, and set it down like this so we know that it goes that way. Put the key right there next to it. Alright, this next piece, 45, is your distance piece assembly, speedometer gear, and rear bearing. Let's see. So it's another distance piece, they call it. It has the grooves on it and the oiling hole right there. And it goes in this fashion here. And again, I believe it'll line up with the oiling hole here when you put it all together. Put it back on there. You can see it's very finely machined, very precise. So we'll take this guy all the way off, slide him out, set him down in this fashion, the way it came out. Keep it all together. And that is the total disassembly of this, the third motion shaft. Let's show some things. Let's take off the little peg here for the main bearing housing here. There's a little peg here that we'll take off and set down, set aside. Alright, we'll check the bearing here. This one was very nice and smooth. A little bit of play, that's fine. But nice and smooth, doesn't bind or anything when you spin it. Here are the oiling holes that I talked about for the bushings. We'll have to line that up when we get it back on there. And there's a spring for that little pin that pushes down. And you can see it's grooved so that when we put the thrust washer on, you see the front thrust washer. And as we put it on, pretend there's that little pin there. Lines up, locks on, and then just spins, one spin. And then that little pin pops up and catches in those grooves there, and that's how it locks all together. Very ingenious, if that is work. Oiling hole back here, and here's the front. This is nice. This is where the little needle bearings from the first motion shaft are. They ride on this part here on the third motion shaft. And then here's a little oil restricting hole where the oil is being pumped through the shaft, and it comes out here, here, and here. And that is basically it. So this is a very good piece here. So now that'll do it. Thank you. Okay, now we're going to take the first motion shaft, the main bearing. Most likely you want to replace this anyway. This one takes a lot of wear and tear, and I always replace mine also. I always replace mine. So we got to bend this. This is the washer. To get this nut off, we got to bend this back. So we're just going to take a screwdriver, knock it down, bend it on out. There we go. Get that guy out of the way. Okay. Let's make sure we get it all out of the way. Okay. Just want to make sure that you get it nice and flat. So I'll take this nut off here. Now this is a reverse thread nut. So instead of counterclockwise loosen, we're going to go clockwise to loosen this nut off of here. And we're going to put it in this vice grip. I'm going to get it set up in this vice grip and use my nice big old wrench here. And we're going to knock this baby loose. So I'll show you that in just a second. Let me just get it set up for you, and then we'll get it. We'll show you. Okay, we got it set up in the vise. You might have noticed that the gears are pretty much shot on this first motion shaft, but just for demonstration purposes, we're going to show you how to take this nut off. Again, it's reverse thread, so we're going to go clockwise to loosen, and we're going to show you how to get this main bearing off of here. So a nice size wrench to get on this nut here. Lock it in. Let's see if we get this set up right. Smack with the hammer. There she goes. There we go. We get the nut loose. Nice size nut. Let's get the washer off. Washer off of there. There we go. Okay, now we got that off. Now I'm going to get it set up in the next part, so I'm going to get it set up so we can knock this bearing off of here. Again, we're going to use the vise here. So, okay. Okay, now we're going to show you how to get the bearing off the first motion shaft. Again, set up in the vise. I'm going to try it on a table. Hopefully it won't give too much. But set it up in the vise this way, where this snap ring, the lip of it's just on the edge of the vise. So resting there in that fashion. And so that's what's going to be resting there. We're going to take a block of wood and knock on the top of the first motion shaft and drive this bearing off of the first motion shaft. So let's see if we get this going. There she goes. Okay. Swing it out a little bit further here. There we go. That's it, taken off.
That's how you drive the bearing off of the first motion shaft. Okay, now I'd like to show you how to disassemble the lay gear assembly. There's needle bearings in this lay gear. This is the 3-bearing lay gear. So we got one single bearing up front here with a spacer that goes all the way back, and on the back side of the gear towards the first motion shaft has the 2 needle bearing gears in there. So I'm not going to lie to you, this is a difficult process. I'm just going to show you how to get out the one right here, and you can see there's like a little snap ring, and this is very difficult to get out. I found it easy to, or not easy, but for me, this real thin screwdriver. Let's see if I can get this in here. Just wedge it in there. There, popped it in, and then just try to work it out. This is not the easiest thing to do. Almost got it. And you need almost 2, there she goes. You almost need 3 hands to do this, so let me just see if I can't get it. And just take your time. There we go. You can see how I got it. And then just pop that little snap ring up, and there she comes out. The bearings that you'll get, it comes all in an assembly. And those cage bearings, what you'll need to do there, what I do is just a little cup with oil in it, and just put the new needle bearings in there, just let them soak in the oil while you're disassembling this. And we'll take this out to show you, and you'll see all the little, all those little needle bearings. They're just going to all come out in that fashion. So that's all you need to do to take out the needle bearings in the lay gear shaft. Now, when I get down to this one here, when I take the first one out, I won't bore you with that detail. It's the same thing what I just did. But it's the same process. There's another snap ring down for the second one, and just take your time and work it out like I showed you, and get both of those bearings out. There's also a spacer right here that you can see that I'll show you in just a minute to get that out. And so just take your time and take your patience, be patient with it, and you'll get it. Okay, now I'd like to show you how to take out this distance piece tube. What we'll use is just a socket. Here's the needle bearing race that comes out of here. All the needle bearings are out. We're just going to take out that distance piece. And you can see the socket's just a little bit slightly smaller diameter than the needle bearing race. So it'll slide through the lay gear shaft easily. Just turn this over. Look at that. How about that? That's a good distance piece too. Just slide it on out. There she is. Sometimes they're that simple. How about that? But once you get it out, again, just here's the needle bearing race. Just make sure those are nice and smooth and doesn't have any gouges in them and stuff, and just clean it up and inspect it, and make sure you have a good lay gear to start off with on the rebuild. And that's basically the disassembly of the lay gear. Alright, the inspection of the lay gear and lay shaft. Again, Moss Europe has, I like to use that catalog online. You can see on this lay gear here, 22H54. I go look that up in the Moss Europe catalog online, and sure enough, that's for a 63 MGB, which I'm working on. Again, just make sure all the gears are nice, no nicks or gouges in them. The bearings, I've replaced the front one here. It was a little bit out of spec. The rear one here looked good and was still in spec, and even the newer one that I got was a little bit smaller than this one. I needed to bring this up when I measured. I'll show you that in just a little bit. When I measured the difference, I needed to get it within 4 thousandths clearance. So I need a little bit thicker on the front, and that brought me up to it. The lay shaft gear, just take a look at it. Most likely replace it while you got the whole thing out is a good idea. That's what I would recommend. Here's one out of that gearbox that I disassembled for you, and you can see the problem here. That sucker broke right in the lay shaft, broke inside the gearbox, so this was no good. And you can also see here this gouging, right? If you can zoom in on that, Jared, you can see where it's sort of that bearing on the rear there was really gouging into the lay shaft gear. So that was an accident waiting to happen, and sure enough it popped, and that's what chewed up all the gears in there, the main shaft gear, and then also a little bit on the lay gear also. So just inspect everything and replace parts as necessary. Okay, now we're going to attempt to replace the seal that's in your drive here, speedometer drive gear. And the seal's right in here. This is on the outside of the gearbox. There's a seal right in here. Here's a new one that we're going to be placing in there. And it's in this fashion, oriented in the gearbox and in the housing in this fashion here, with the lip of the seal facing that way. So what we're going to try to do, it's good to have stuff around the house. Here's a drywall anchor bolt. What I'm going to try to do is just tap it in here, screw it into that seal so that I don't go all the way down. There she goes. Alright, now we're just going to try to pull her. Let's see if I can do this. Okay, she started to come out. She came out about a good 1/4 of an inch, maybe 1/2 an inch. She's starting to come out. Let me try screwing it in again. There we go. I can screw it down a little bit further now. Let me get the towel because that kind of hurt my hand. Let's try to. Let's be careful. Try to pull it straight out so you don't get the. Come on out of there, baby. Okay, getting closer. So she's starting to come out of there now. Still can't get the screwdriver on there. So I might have to get a bigger stud than this guy here. But let's try it again one more time with you on the camera there. Let's see if I'm screwing into it. Yep, it feels like I'm still screwing into it. Okay, good. Okay, let's try her again. Almost. Okay, we're gonna have to find a little bit larger than this guy here and try to get her out. Okay, now here's what I've engineered now. As you can see here, I've got a bolt, a regular bolt now, with a couple of washers on it. I'm going to put it on the ground with my feet, hold my feet on both sides, and then just yank this guy up. Try to get this mother out of here. Let's put it on the ground. Put my feet on it. There she goes. So there we go. She popped right out of there. So we'll clean that up in there and then put in the new seal. That's all you have to do to get that seal out of there. I don't think there's any other way to do it besides that. Okay, next we're going to try to remove the front cover seal.
There is just a very tiny little lip here on the seal. Just take your hammer. I'm going to try to do this on the workbench, see if I got enough. Usually you want to try to do this on the floor. Just take your... Try to knock it out best you can. Just tap all around it. Get it started. She goes. Guys get the idea what's happening here. So now that we got it started. She goes. Did you guys get the idea? Let me see if I can. Okay, that's starting to go. So that's how you do it to get it out. Just take your time. Try not to gall up the front cover. We're just knocking that front bearing out, and it's going to take some persuading. So just take your time and go around with it. Okay, on a job, on a scale of 1 to 10 for a job, this one's down there at around a 2. Trying to get the rear end seal off of the tail shaft here. They've got special tools that can do it, but brute force is what I've found. I've got a scrap piece of metal here from a body panel cut out. I just cut a little lip on it so it'll slide on here. Now I'm just going to use a pry bar and a good old hammer and just try